Welcome to the Not On My Watch podcast, where real-life issues facing the family and the church are addressed with bold and uncompromising truth. It's time to reject the mediocrity of the day, live courageously in the face of danger, and declare, Not On My Watch. Here are your hosts, Jeff and Rochelle Ferguson.
All right, it's Not On My Watch's 10 minutes in the news. I'm starting the timer right now because this is 10 minutes or less. And so here we go. We've got two articles. This is the premise of this kind of special
segment.
We each come with an article, explain it, talk about it, things that matter to Not On My Watch, that would matter to you. Yep. You're a part of the movement. So here, I'm going first.
Go first.
Okay, so my article, the title is Parents Speak Out After Daughter Assigned to Share a Bed with a Transgender Student on a School Trip. They told me to hide it, in quotes. So the backstory...
if I could do an emoji face, you'd be like...
So the backstory is that this 11-year-old girl is on a cross-country trip with her school. Not like cross-country, but like cross-country, track. And
I thought it was the other cross-country, but
really? So are you glad? Okay, glad I did the whole running. Okay, so, and her mom is actually a chaperone on the trip, but they have the adults and the kids sleeping separate. We could talk a whole lot about that on Not On My Watch. I gotta make sure of time. Okay. And so the girl goes into the bathroom of the hotel room and calls her mom, who's in another hotel room, and says, Mom, they're having me sleep with a biological boy in my bed. Like, we have to share a bed.
Oh, my goodness.
And she's 11.
Wow.
And so obviously, so the mother confronts the leadership of the trip and all of this, and they do say that she can change rooms, but they said, please hide this, don't tell anybody. This is our school policy. So now, obviously, they have not abided by the don't tell anybody this because they're trying to protect other people. And so that's my article. Do you have any thoughts before I jump into them?
A couple thoughts. We just did a podcast on bullying, and I think one of the weapons of a bully is, hey, don't tell.
Yeah, I always think if there's anybody says, hey, don't tell anybody about this, that should be a red flag going off. If you have a school policy that a transgender student can share a bed with whomever, if there's all of these types of situations, if you have that as a school policy, you obviously think there's something wrong with it if you tell people to hide it.
Yes.
And so there you go. Anything that's like supposed to be hidden, scary right there. And the reality is this is not a good situation. If somebody feels uncomfortable about sharing a bed with somebody, they should never be made to do that. We've been youth pastors before we were senior pastors. We care about young people. I go on youth trips now. I have a whole lot of hesitancy about a whole lot of things. Just the world it's a different world. Yeah. And so I'm really not a fan of bed sharing no matter what, just to be honest. Yeah. But in this situation, this is absolutely not okay. I'm glad the mom was on the trip, but what do you do if mom wasn't on the trip?
Well, and glad mom understood that parenting kids are entrusted to the parents, not the school or the state. And I think that's important here for this. I don't want to get too off on that, but good for a mom who's like, no, this isn't going to happen, and actually did something about it and is not being silent about it.
Well, and this is actually going to go into the courts. There's going to be some situations that come as a result of this. But this is partly why I brought this article here is because as a parent, if you care about the next generation, you are a grandparent, if you just care, you've got to be informed to know, like, this isn't just like, oh, randomly this is happening. And you can't remain silent. And so part of the reason I even brought this to this news segment is the fact that just to be aware, but also to encourage you. Other people are standing up. You need to stand up, say, nope, this isn't going to happen.
Yes.
Hey, I know that's your school policy, time to write a new one because it's not right.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Apply the pressure.
So there we go. There's my article.
Here's my
What's
article.
yours?
My article, I just had to bring this because I read this article that said 30% of kids say they want to be YouTubers when they grow up. Literally, 30% of kids said they, and we might say, oh, that's just the little kids. Oh, no. 54% of those who are 13 to 34 said that their top career choice was being a social media influencer. And this is actually a thing. We may say, oh, this is funny. Did you get this from, some other satirical website? Absolutely. No, this is a thing. There are actually camps that and after school programs that are being created to help kids and young people become social media influencers. There are businesses who are putting on these camps for kids who aspire to be what they call professional influencers. A Houston-based creator camp started by a group of 20-something created something like this. And I thought about this. I'm like, this is crazy. Of all the careers out there, that the number one aspiration is that they want to be an influencer, which, here's the thing, I don't think it's bad to want to influence people. I don't think it's bad to want to be an influencer. But in our society of influencers, we have to realize that the greatest influence comes from people who have the character to actually hold that influence. It's not about your online platform or online presence. It's about your character, and we need to spend more time talking about our character development, our heart development, who we are in Christ, and less about our followers on Facebook or YouTube.
Yeah, so here's my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Got some. Social media influencer, any type of YouTube influencer, whatever. These are, if you want to be an influencer, I think there's incredible value. I think people should want to influence people for the kingdom.
Yes.
All of those kind of things. But you can't do it unless you've actually done something. And there's a whole lot of people posing as though they have done something and they've done nothing. And I know that's super unpopular. Like that, what I just said could get me canceled with some people. But here's the deal. You can't influence people if you're not actually doing it. You're just an imposter.
Oh my.
And this is what I think this should say.
Yes.
54% of people want to be imposters because you can't be something unless you've done it. And so this is, I mean, seriously, it's like, oh, let me tell other people how to do something. If you've not done it, now that doesn't mean that you don't have value, that you can't speak into things, but you have to understand that you're limited in what you are speaking into.
I just want to leave that right there.
Sorry. So maybe I got more on your bandwagon of an article, but that is so alarming to me, because what people are saying that Gen Z is the most authentic generation. They value authenticity. And yet this shows me the opposite.
And you know what this also shows me? I don't want to rail on the next generation. This shows me that a previous generation is failing the next generation and saying, hey, let's call you higher. You need to do something before you can be a social media influencer.
Well, and can I also say that the older, I'm not railing on Gen, I love Gen Z. I love Alpha Gen, but maybe they don't see value in these other professions because their parents have complained every day of their life about their own job. Yeah. And they say things like, don't ever be X because all you do is have to work. And all they've heard is complaining.
Oh, you're right.
Job, working hard for something, that is not a curse.
No, and if you're a follower of Christ, work is created. It's not a result of the fall. God created work to be a good thing. And newsflash, new heavens, new earth. We're going to be working. Now it's not going to be cursed like it is here in this earth. It's not
going to be toilsome.
But I tell you what, you're exactly right. Parents, we set the tone in our home by how we talk about work. If work's a bad thing, then kids are going to want to go out and just get in front of a camera so that they can get likes. Tell you what, we need to cultivate some more resilience and character into our young people than, hey, give me a camera so I can get likes.
And I'm like, I love the whole idea of pastors, ministry leaders being on the internet, spreading, the good news. You're listening here. Yes. So I'm not against that. I am against somebody who hasn't actually worked with real life people.
Yes.
For 20 years.
If this is
I don't
the
know, I just made up 20
extent,
years.
if this is the extent right here, there's
then
something
there's
wrong.
something there's something missing.
Absolutely.
And so if we don't tell a next generation that you got to earn the right to speak into people. You know, you've got to earn the right to be an expert or an influencer. And what are we influencing people for? It matters.
Yes.
It matters.
I heard someone say this. I can't remember who said it. I don't want to attribute it because I don't want to attribute it to the wrong person, not me. If you take care of the depth, meaning our depth of heart and character and soul, God will take care of the breadth.
How far it reaches.
How far it goes.
Well, and we also have to think, what is the standard by which we are measuring that? Time's up.
Time is up.
Hope you enjoyed 10 minutes in the news. Hey, send us your articles. Let us know what you want to hear about, and keep on the Not On My Watch movement.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Not On My Watch podcast. You are a watchman for this time and hour. Don't forget to subscribe and rate this podcast wherever you listen. If you haven't already, head on over to our website, www.notonmywatch.co, for more resources from Jeff and Rochelle. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next time on the next episode. But until then, keep watchful.